Welcome to FedScoop TV. I'm Camille Tudi. I'm the editorial director at FedScoop, and I'm sitting here with Major Barloon. Welcome.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit about your first government job experience and what you learned from that.
I enlisted in the Air Force in October of 1989, and so growing up from the fields of Iowa and then joining the Air Force, I was first trained as a F-111 avionics technician, so that's where I got my first experience on established set of procedures, established set of policies for maintaining the avionics package or electronics packages off the F-111 fighter bomber jet, and then I retrained into the ground radio maintenance career field, which followed that same suit, and now I'm an officer today.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything you did early in your career that helped influence your career later on?
All throughout my career, I've been blessed with having a strong set of supervisors that were willing to establish and enforce the Air Force's core values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. So following those guidelines, so that way anything that I did, whether it was working on the F-111, working in ground radio maintenance, or being an officer today leading airmen, soldiers, and sailors in our joint environment, that I followed those principles of the core values of the Air Force to make sure I treated people with dignity and respect to achieve the mission of fly, fight, and win.
Mm-hmm. What advice do you have to young government employees who might feel overwhelmed in their new roles?
Today's environment, and I'm a cyber operations officer, today's environment is very dynamic. The adversary is very dynamic. We're being very dynamic to defend against that cyber adversary. And you're right, I couldn't agree with you more. The environment is very challenging. My recommendation to the younger community would be find your mentors that you can count on. Look at your peers, you can count on them as well. And then balance the opinions between the two and balance it often. Seek their advice as often as possible to always never forget where you came from. And then I will also keep your vision and focus on where you're going to go to next.
And looking back at your own career, what's the best career advice you've received?
Just as I already said, never forget where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
Once you establish your roots on what do you stand for, what do you stand for, and how you're going to accomplish that, never forget where you came from, so that you always treat people with dignity and respect to move forward, especially in a very dynamic, socially networked environment.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the resources you would recommend to someone who's looking to further their career?
Stay involved in the community, especially with environments like the one we're in today, with the Adobe Digital Assembly, things like the AFCEA, the Meritalk, those other types of cyber networking functions where you can stay connected with your local community. You can establish your new peer group, continuously change your peer group or add to your peer group, but then also remember where your mentors are and then bounce those ideas off your mentors, and again, never forget where you came from.
What's the one reason why you would recommend someone younger to pursue a government career?
The government has many opportunities, and it was a phenomenal opportunity to bloom where you planted. Starting off as either being an intern or somebody junior in the federal government, being able to see what those tasks at hand, what are those requirements to complete those tasks, and then see how the government builds that vision to achieve those tasks. Once you've then followed that vision, now that allows you to, again, bloom where you planted in other organizations, and it affords you the opportunity to go either to private industry or to other organizations within the federal government to then further your own career.
And you've been in the cyber field for a little bit, and what are some of the projects that you recently worked on?
As recently assigned to the White House Communications Agency, I was responsible for a team to proactively protect, detect, react, and recover the networks associated with the travel mission for the President of the United States. And so many of the things that we did there were to understand risk from a cyber adversary perspective, but then also understand risk to our operations and to our mission, and then balance between the two. But to do that, you had to understand what is the cyber threat, what are the vulnerabilities associated with your network, whether it's with people or the technologies, and then how do you apply the various mitigation actions and mitigation strategies to then lower your level of risk. And so when you apply those principles, you can apply that to your fixed traditional infrastructure of your Windows and your desktops and your laptops, but then also how do you embrace things such as wireless and wireless security, and then now also with mobility, whether it be tablets or phones themselves. And so how do you apply those overarching principles of risk to be able to create a secure enough and transparent enough capability for our users supporting the President of the United States?
Okay, thank you, Major. We
You're very
really appreciate you joining FedScoop TV. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.